Welcome to tuteslearns.com. This is Virender and this is your fourth lecture in the series of HTML. So, this is what we had done last time, and let me open this into Google Chrome side by side so that you can visualize easily. Okay, there. So this was the thing that we had left last. Now, there's one more thing that I had to cover, and that is an attribute of the font tag, which is the face tag. Face attribute, sorry. So face is basically provides the format to the text, and it's basically changing the format. So if we want to change, this is the normal text. If you want to change the format to Arial like this, save this, refresh, you can see that there's a change. If you want to change it to Comic Sans MS, save this, refresh. Look, the format of this text is changing. And if there is some format which is not available to change in this face tag, then it won't change. For example, if I save this, refresh this was the normal text. If I type the face attribute and write here Broadway, save this, refresh, look, nothing changes because Broadway is not available to be changed, or Broadway is not available to be as a format here, so that's why it's not changing. But the Arial and Comic Sans MS do, so that's why we can use them and change our text format. So that was what we had left. Now let's cover to our new stuff. So let me just delete this, save this, refresh. Yep. So this thing like subscripts and superscripts. So what you should do if you need to write the formula of water, which is H2O. H2O. Uh, Save this, refresh. But you don't want. Okay, let me first resize it. H1, H2O, slash H1. Save that, refresh. Okay, so H2O, the chemical formula of water, but we want this to be as a subscript, not comes with the H2O. You're getting my point? So how could we do that? Is with the help of subscript. And what we need to do is we need to simply write uh, sub and slash sub and save that, refresh this. So now you can see the 2 is coming into the subscript. So H2O now is looking like the formula of water. And what if we want that 2 key power 2 to the power equals 4, right? But if you want that to be come it as a superscript, then we write simply sub and slash sub. And now let me close that h1 tag too, save this, refresh. So look, now this 2 is coming as a superscript of this 2. In a similar way, we can write 2, 3 is 8. Save that, refresh that, like this. So these are the subscripts and the superscripts that we use. And there is another thing called the physical text styles. Physical text styles are basically that physically styles the text and the way of the text are represented. They could be bold, they could be italic, or they could be underlined. For example, if you want to write this H2O to be underlined, you can simply put in an underline tag here, and that's it. Now save it, refresh, and as you can see, now the whole thing has been underlined. Till what? Till you provide an closing tag. So if you provide closing tag here, so it will be underlined. Okay, so let me give you an more realistic example. This is a underlined text, and how it could be underlined? Well, by using the underline tag, close it off, save this, refresh. Look, this is underline text. Uh, Let me increase the size of these texts because they are, I think, smaller a bit. They're a bit smaller. Or perhaps I could change the size of there. Now you can see that this is underline text. Well, if you want that same thing to be italic, then we write I, that this is an italic text. In a similar way is for the bold, but first let's check this out. So can you see that? Now it's italic and it's tilted a bit. So um, let's make it into the next line. So how we can do that? Remember, we used the breaking row tag for that. Save that, and now it will be into the next line. In a similar way, do a BR here, and then type B for bold, and say this is a bold text. Okay, save that, refresh, and look. So this is an underline, this is an italic, and this is in bold text. This is how we physically style the text. This is how we subscript the text. And there are other types of styles also that we can use. For example, let me write this text is under testing conditions. Okay, if we want it to be strong, then we can use strong for that. Let me do that. Save, refresh. Okay, I forget to provide a BR here. So strong is basically bold, as you can see, and yeah, and there is also called code. Code is basically for providing computer coding type format. Okay, you will notice that in a moment. Save this, refresh. So as you can see, as is a format like it's a code of computer. In a similar way is there, if you copy that and paste it in here, is emphasis. Emphasis is for giving emphasis to a sentence. It's a bit italic in nature. Look, as you can see. In a similar way, there is TT also, which is the typewriter. So paste it, TT, which is typewriter, TT, save that. So this is providing a typewriter type of format. So these are how we can change the format of text by using either font face tag is or by using underline, italic, bold, these by using these physical text styles or these type of logical text styles, they can change the way the text looks and appears. Okay, one last thing before we end this tutorial is that if we need to add if we need to move our sentence to next line, we use a breaking row. But if you want to add a space between a sentence or between two words, then how we could do that? For example, if we provide a space in here and save that, refresh, can you see? Nothing changes. And this is because that HTML ignores the white spaces and blanks. It just assumes that here's only is one space. Even if you take it into the three next lines and save this, like save and refresh, look, nothing changes. But if you need to move it to the next line, we use BR, and if we need some space between two words, then we use %NBSP. So this is for providing, this will provide one space, and save that, refresh. Can you see that the change? Okay, let me have four space. So paste that, paste that, paste that. Now it will be having four spaces like this. So NBSP will be used for providing spaces. In a similar way, there are other words like if you want to write that 2 is less than 4, right? um, you can do that if you save that and you refresh. Check that you're having 2 is less than 4. You think that this works, but this is not the right way to do, because this could be assumed by the HTML as a anchor tag, and if you need to write, for example, this and this, then this would be totally wrong, and it could later on mislead your program or your web page. So the better way or the right way to do this is to use and %LT, which stands for less than. So 2 is less than 4. Save this, refresh, and you can see it seems nothing changes, but it actually does. For example, this, if I remove this, save this, refresh, look, nothing's there. If I provide and %LT, which is a less than, save this, refresh, then a less than sign is there. In a similar way, if we do and %GT, which stands for greater than, then it will be 2 is greater than 4, which is actually not. We are just explaining an example here. And in a similar way is, what if you want to write this? Then we would like to write %AMP and save that and refresh. You can see this is for AND. In a similar way, there are other things that we can use it for. For example, NCPY, save that. Okay, there is something copy, I think, Control S well, refresh. Yeah, so look, this is for this symbol, and in a similar way we can use many more. So I think for this tutorial we are done, and I will see you into the next tutorial. Thank you and have a nice day.